Hey cousins! Happy New Year! We are back. If you guys are new here, welcome
back.
Here.
Anyway,
I'm Q.
I'm Jamilla.
And if, like I said, if you're new here, we call our people cousins. So
y'all
what
cousins.
What up, cuz?
And y'all invited to the barbecue.
Whatever that means.
You still, wait, after all this time, you still don't know what that means?
You said something about poetic justice. Like, was it the cookout when they got in an argument or something? Anyway, I hope you guys are having an awesome new year, and all that good stuff. So we are starting a series this year. This month will be our first series called The Truth About Our Relationship. Marriage, all of that.
All of that?
All of that.
All of that.
All right, so we are going to jump into episode uno, which is communication. Were you trying to cheers me on the phone?
No, that was accident.
Cheers.
Thank you. And happy anniversary to us.
Yes, we just celebrated 5 years of marriage. If you guys follow us on social media, if you don't, go ahead and follow us with the social media handles below. We did drop a mini vlog on our Jamilla and Que channel on IGTV, so make sure you check that out. So to start things off, we're going to talk about our worst argument. And I think it maybe was one of our first arguments. Big arguments? No.
Yeah, I think so. I had to put my drink down for that.
So, I'll let you set the scene a little bit, like where we were at and everything.
Okay, so this argument we were already married. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that Sequina told me from the very first time that I met her is that she wanted to have a baby. She was already like, that's what I want to do. And I was just like, oh, okay. Because I guess I have been very career motivated in the past. I was very like corporate America career motivated, right? So I had to climb a ladder, and I think now looking back at it, I think I was just kind of like competing, like a healthy competition, like with my father. Like, this is what he was able to do at a certain age, this is what I wanted to do. My parents owned 2 homes by this certain age. I needed to do the same thing by a certain age. So I had a lot of things internally that I didn't know, I didn't even realize that I was competing against. So here we go where it's January 2016, we get married. So we have a little bit of money set aside. The first thing I want to do is, I'm thinking in my head, what would I do if I have like a nice chunk of change, is purchase a home. I have been wanting to purchase a home since 21. It didn't work out the first time. If you guys watched one of our other story times, we discussed that. And naturally in my head, I had always wanted to be a homeowner. That was top of the brain. I'm thinking, if you got like 3% sitting anywhere for a home, purchase a home. So we're actually like driving around looking at homes in some of the areas. We brought my mom with us, so we were actually, I think at that time, looking at the Austell area. Mm-hmm. Yep. So we were kind of
Springs.
Right, so we were just kind of looking at homes, looking around, and so we ended up going to lunch afterwards. And a lot of our arguments actually happened around because we had another big argument when we were trying to purchase this home. But yeah, anyway, so we're at Jim and Nick's eating, and we begin to have this discussion that turns into a full-fledged argument.
So it goes to show, just to start it off, how communication is important, because you would think that with us, okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. So my thing, like Jamil said, I always wanted to have a baby. So in my mind, I was thinking, we have money, let's go buy some vials and let's go get inseminated. Let's start the baby process. So it goes to show how important communication is, because here we are looking at homes, and I'm thinking that we're going to have a baby first or at the same time. So, we're just discussing, we went to see a home, and, we're just discussing the area. And then I don't know what flipped. I think maybe I asked, because I think we went prior to us getting married in January, we went to the fertility clinic to do their consultation.
Right.
than like October or November of the previous year. So in my mind, we had already started that process first anyway.
So in my mind, so maybe this might have been the second biggest argument. Another argument we had was whether we were going to purchase a home first or get married first. So my thing is, like, I had brought up this home buying, how important it was to me. And me and Sequina are both the type of people that we're in our heads a lot. And although, like, we are very, very connected, I don't always know what she's thinking, and she doesn't always know what I'm thinking. Some of the time it works. Some of the times, like, we surprise ourselves by, like on the board, like, we can be, like, with each other, in sync with one another. But there's sometimes where, you know, we miss each other. And so in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I need to have 3% down on a home. I need to have closing costs. Like, in my head, because I know the housing process, because I have been on HGTV watching, like, shows. So in my head, I have a running tab of how much it is to purchase a home. In her head, she has a running tab of
how much it is for to start IUI, how much is to buy the vows, how much do we need to buy to do all the research on the donor, like all this stuff. So we both had that running list. So that is the first thing that I can say. The communication was totally broken when it came to the buying the house and having a baby thing. So essentially, we had that argument at Jim and Nick's. I think it got so bad that I left, or you either got up at the table and walked away.
Yeah, one of us did. I think you did.
Yeah, I think I did, because I was like, I think I went out, left out and cried, because I was just like so pissed, because I guess I was feeling like Jamil wasn't trying to have a baby. And you know, girl, I want to have a baby.
Sequina is 5 years older than me.
Right.
So that's also a difference as well. Like, she also has another clock, a biological clock running.
Right. So, you know, we always, like, have a running joke now with her mom. If things are starting to, like, if we're having a little debate or bickering, she's like, okay, is this a Jim and Nick situation? Because, like, mind you, we having this whole big dispute in front of Jamilla's mom, and it was, like, crazy. But, you know, she handled it well. You know, she kind of just sat there and was probably very shocked about what was going on.
But what's so funny is that, like, some of our friends will probably think that me and Sequina never argue. But what's funny is that, like, some of our toughest arguments are, like, discussions, like, the start of them have started in front of people. Like, in front of, like, our friends or people that we know. And then we've had to continue it in the car. And then it's like, you get home, you go in your corner, I go in my corner. And then, like, the next day we got to figure things out.
So, and just to tie it back to, like, the point, the main thing about this episode is communication with your partners.
Totally.
Because like Jamil said, we both were in our head. We both had a running list of what needs to be done. But we never sat down. And I'm not saying that you have to sit down, because I don't think we necessarily do it now. But it's just, like, you don't have to sit down, write it down, and say, hey, this is the plan. But you kind of just maybe need to check in and just say, hey, so how are you feeling right now? So, like, the housing market is looking like this. You know, we got a couple of appointments. Insurance is looking good. Like, which one do you think we should do first? So, I think if I'm looking now at our older selves, I understand Jamilla's way of thinking. I would have totally been on the bandwagon with getting the home first. And, you know, based on how things planned out, because ultimately that was the route that we went. And I think that was the most successful for us.
I think my biggest opportunity is breaking it down, right? Because we have to remember, we don't follow the same people on social media, right? So I follow, like, a lot of real estate agents, a lot of housing stuff. So I try to always have my eyes and ears on what's going on in the housing market, because I'm, like, a little obsessed. So I'm thinking, like, when I tell her, and now 2 homes later, if I tell her to pull a trigger, you'll probably be ready to pull a trigger before now. But, like, cool 25, you know, I don't think purchasing a home was, like, on your immediate, like, list of things to do, right? Whereas, like, it was something that was kind of, like, always talked about in my household, that it was just something that I needed to do. It was always top of the brain. And that's why your childhood is so important to talk about with your partner, because we have these expectations that we bring into relationships, and we just assume that our partner's going to know. Like, it was very important. Like, my parents, by the ages of 25, I want to say that they had purchased their second townhome by this. So, like, I just had ages and times, and my parents did this. I had all of that in my head, and I was putting all of that on me as measures of success. So, like, maybe, whereas Sequina's measure of success might have been getting married. Like, that was, like, that's what I've been wanting to do. I've been dating for this reason. I want to get married. Now, us having a successful marriage is successful for me. To me, my first level was purchasing a home. So that's where you have to like talk to people and get on the same page. She can keep her measure of success and I can keep mine, but our actions have to match and there has to be compromise.
Right. So that's another thing that's key in communicating with your partner is compromising. And for me, I always say like choose your battles.
Totally.
Because there are going to be so many battles you can fight. And to me, what I've learned now, you know, being more mature and being married for 5 years and being in a relationship with Jamil almost a decade, is that there's going to be so many battles to come. So I'm only going to choose the ones that I'm completely passionate about. I'm not going to go ahead and jump in the ones that I'm just either feeling away for today or being petty, or the ones I know I'm not going to really care about in a day or two.
Totally. Yep. And then I think it's also recognizing, because although that was like a big conversation and ended up in a big argument, you can have little arguments like that every single day. So what I try to do is when we wake up in the morning, like on a Saturday or a Sunday, and I try to ask her like, well, what are your plans for the day, right? Because I could be in a mood where I just want to lay in bed all day, and then she could wake up and start getting ready and like looking at me like, well, when are you getting ready? And then that could cause tension right there. Because in my head, I'm thinking like, dang, I've been working all day. I got a baby on my boob. I got a toddler I got to feed. And then her head, she could be thinking, we got to do this. We got to do this. We got to vlog. We got to, you know, like everyone has different things that they're telling themselves in their head. And if you don't communicate that with your partner, their actions will cause tension. And nobody's doing anything on purpose. You just maybe woke up with two different purposes that day. Just like we came into the housing process, came into our marriage with different purposes of what the next step would be.
And I can say that definitely has worked with just setting expectation daily. Or like, especially on days like weekends where, you know, you guys have to come together and create an agenda for the day or the weekend versus like your work days. But that has been very key, and that's something I've never done in any relationship. Just a simple like, what do you want to do today? What's on your agenda? What's on your mind? Hey, how you feeling today?
And I'm not the most like talkative, like chatty person, like unless it's something like I'm like really like interested in. But talking about feelings and like minute feelings is super important for me, because I feel like minute feelings snowball into bigger things. Because it could be 3 weekends down the line and then Sequina's like, well, every weekend you just like lay in bed and you're like lazy and I have things that I want to do, and that's like an argument. Like, oh, you calling me lazy? Like now you're talking about my character. Now you're judging me. Like, what's up? And it wouldn't have even been that big.
Right. So it's like, honestly, it's making the decision. I think your cousin said it. What did he say? Like, oh no, he said, what did he say about the successful marriage?
So one of my family members, we kind of witnessed them having like a tense moment with their partner, and he said something like, just kind of off the cut, but like we live by now. Like, it's the key to successful marriage is having a short-term memory.
Like, you can't hold on to shit.
You can't take things personally, and you can't hold on to stuff.
You can't. And I think like, for me, there was a point where I could hold on to things and let it like fester and then boil up, and then I've just become extremely passive aggressive. But within this relationship, I think we have opened up the lines of communication where I'm okay with bringing things in, like, you know, hey, we could just be having just a normal conversation, and then if it's something that I really need to point out, like right in here, like I need you to hear me, I can do it right there, and then there's no like the rest of the day is not messed up. We just keep it moving. Right.
So we're kind of good. I don't think we bicker a lot, but we do like have like go back and forth. But I think those back and forths, those quick commentary back and forths, keep you from having like a bigger argument later on.
And I'm just like, I don't really like stay mad at Jamila at all. And I think like when she tries to get mad at me, I'm like super annoying and trying to make her laugh so she doesn't stay mad. So I think maybe the longest we've ever stayed mad at each other is maybe like a day. Yeah. Maybe 24 hours. But it hasn't been like a point where it's been days and days. Like, no. Because then that's super annoying. Because then I'm like hurting myself. Because who I'm going to tell what's going on to for the day.
Right. Because the times where we have like a day where we didn't speak, then you have like a time where like, oh my God, I have so much to tell you.
Right. So it's just like, just get it over with.
Because we really are best friends. Because when I like talk to other couples and like how they operate, like we kind of like do everything together. So I think the only things that we don't do together is like personal maintenance. Like she goes and gets her hair done, or like my nails or something. But like if we have errands, like we run our errands together. She has started like going grocery shopping, which like I could leave her home because she add about $60 to my grocery bill. But yeah, like we just do everything together. We tell each other, I would say like 95% of everything. So it's like when you're mad at each other, you really feel it.
Like you're losing it. Like you like, girl, get over it. So that'd be my thing.
That's like, exactly what you're saying.
I'd be like, for real, you still mad?
You still mad?
I was just playing. Like, you know, I'm
and
always
like, when you always play like that.
But yeah, honestly, like just to like kind of recap, like communication is super, super important. Like to me, that is when people ask me what is like the key to a successful marriage, is communication. And it's not just your communication, it's not your partners, it's how you guys communicate together.
Totally.
And compromising and like just like being able to like not let those little arguments snowball into something big and attack them when you can, but also at the same time make sure you're choosing your battles, because sometimes you just gotta look in the mirror. And I check myself like, girl, you being petty today, leave it alone, you just picky, you not in the mood, leave people alone today. You gotta just tell yourself, leave people alone today. Leave people alone.
I tell myself like, you being controlling, you don't even really care. You don't even really care, you're just being controlling.
So before we end this video, if you have made it this far, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And I know maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, we introduced the Q&J. So just like the Q&A, it just be a question that you guys can drop in the comments, or you can DM us on social media and just use the hashtag Q&J so that we'll know to keep it on the list, so that way we can ask your question, answer your question in the video. So the Q&J for this video is, what are our degrees and why, and if we could change them or go back to school, would it be something different?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay, so I went to Georgia State University, GSU, the real GSU, and I graduated with honors. Magna cum laude.
Girl, let me go first. Anyway, I just have a bachelor's degree in business administration with concentration in human resources, and if I could change it now, it would totally be like media marketing, like something more in line with being in front of the camera. Yeah, that would basically be it. And I'm going to let this girl go ahead and be braggadocious, because you deserve it, boo. Go ahead, tell her. Go ahead.
Okay, as I was saying, I graduated with honors, magna cum laude. What year did I graduate? 2011. With a degree in sociology, a concentration of race and urban studies. So people are always like, okay, sociology. I always say sociology, you understand like how, you know, a society works. That helps you understand how a company works, how a government works, all that info. I started out with a journalism degree.
We both did too. When I first started at Norfolk State, I enrolled in journalism. Dropped it though.
I think, and I dropped mine, I changed mine. I think I would have stayed with journalism, because I always pictured myself like a Carrie Bradshaw, or like, in Living Single. In Living Single. I put In Living Color and Living Single together. Living Single, she had a magazine. So I always thought I was going to like have a magazine, write for magazine, all of that. And I kind of wish like I understood journalism copy now, because I would totally write like articles now and submit them to like websites and publications.
That's why your girl need to get back on her blog. Like, she writes like amazing. She's already a good storyteller, so I know y'all will read her blog. So, but make sure you guys drop your Q&Js, message us or whatever, and we'll make sure to make it a point to answer a question every video.
And tag and do hashtag Q&J.
Yeah, so we'll know. So it's different from like our regular Q&A videos, but this just goes for every video.
Yeah.
All right, later.
Bye.